Welcome back to Talkin Thru Your Kick. If you go back 7 days or thereabouts, 1B Zarafa just said, whatever you've got, steal, beg, borrow, back it up on Albrecht in the Stan Fox Stakes. So like a good sheep, I just follow you in.
Mate, we all went in there.
Were you in?
Oh, was I ever?
So what happened? It's 7 wide in a 5-horse field. I'm never happy about that.
Well, we obviously weren't the only people because it was 220 into 180 and Cobain went from evens to 280. And
we're in trouble here.
It was just the brilliance of Nash. I think that proved the difference because everyone sort of expected him to go forward and roll on Cobain. He sat up, which caught McAvoy deep, and then he went back.
But that's a tired horse there running.
Albrecht, and Cobain was just too good.
That is a flat horse that can't make ground a 1,500-metre race. At
Nash
the end
wins.
Of it. Oh, just Nash.
Nash
and
wins
that's,
there.
there's a
Simple as
stat.
that.
There's a stat. Remember, Nash in an 8-horse field, his record is phenomenal in about an 8-horse field.
I think we said that, didn't we? We were going through one of your 20,000 stats.
You bagged me over it.
No, I didn't.
Yes, you did.
I said that's a very relevant stat, and it will be proven soon, Russell.
175 Praseer, 550. It's a done deal. Cabayan.
Not going.
Not going.
He's heading to Melbourne for the Norman Robinson Stakes on towards the Derby. Lunar Eyes will be there. Proverb won't be there. Honorius will be. Indianapolis, no. Tatra won't be there, so take those. You could sort of put the pen through those horses, but definitely Prazi, it's a done deal. Lunar Eyes, they're the ones that are going to be in the finish. I think Honorius at $15 is probably not bad value.
Take the $1.75 into Piero winning the Guineas. Get yourself better than even money.
And wait 11 days. What do I got to do between the other 10 days?
What, you're going that badly you can't afford to wait 11 days.
What about 550? It's a done deal.
No, come on. It just wins.
Just wins?
Just wins.
Prazi just wins?
Just wins.
Okay.
Very interesting stuff.
It wasn't all cheese and bickies for the First Lady of Racing, though, on Saturday because Flat Owl got flattened. Strawberry Boy, there was no cream for Strawberry Boy, and Rusty was on both. Yes!
And let me guess, you butted up on Under the Sun in the last.
No, I was actually, my best of the day was Urban Groove, but I was fly blown, and the Swans, that was about 2 minutes before full time. This is Flat Owl. How can you think that it's going to back up in the Epsom this week, punters?
Track's no good.
It'll be a bit different. It carried 58 here this day, and it'll drop down to 52 to the minimum.
One paced.
Yeah, it is one pace, but that's what can happen in an Epsom, and you need a good two.
No, you need to turn a foot in the Epsom.
No, if you get growling, she did it a couple of years ago with a horse called Rock Kingdom. Did exactly the same thing. Was beaten the week before. She put the blinkers on it. He was strong to the line late. I think the decisive move in this race was Nash not going forward, and it was a theme on Gay's horses all throughout the day. The wind was playing havoc. And you look at Strawberry Boy, you look at Cobain, you look at Urban Groove sat behind the leader, Fat Owl there. They all come off the pace. There was also Tahunga, Indianapolis. They weren't rolling like they normally do.
Here's your head on. Corey on the right and McAvoy on the inside. He protested. There was a definite bump. Now, I heard Ray Murray say that the bump was significant, but the margin of a long head, please, that's more than a long head, that bump. How can they uphold last week's when there was no bump?
Well, that was the argument, wasn't it?
Well, last week the margin was...
Yeah, but hang on, a bump is a bump. The horse got whacked off its tails.
I know.
What were you thinking on Saturday?
I thought it'd be uphill.
That'll do me. I've got no idea. We've got emails on it. Don't worry about that. They were going nuts on it on Saturday. Any reason why the protest to Rose Hill was dismissed and the one at Randwick the previous week was upheld, says Lance. Well, you heard the same interview I heard. Ray Murray said one was a bump and a slightly longer margin. Surely a bump is worth more than a long head.
Well, it must just be the margins, the reason.
Yeah, well, that's... I don't know what...
Well, a head to a long head, what's the margin difference? A half head? Length of a piece of paper? Sideways?
Yeah, a long head is a lot bigger margin. The week before it was a nose, so there's a big difference.
Yeah, but it's got to be horses for courses. But having said that...
Horses for courses, the same horses, the same course, same stewards.
They're upheld too regularly. They're upheld far too regularly.
No.
However, that was one that should have been upheld. Simple.
Yeah, they're not upheld far too regularly.
I think they are.
The wrong ones are. That Perth one from last year.
But there's plenty like that, though. He's remarkable.
Let's have a look at the Epsom market. Pick the eyes out of that one, please.
Money for Shootout, $5.50 back in to join Flat Owl at $5. Rangy, I'm a big Rangy fan for this. I just wonder whether it's snuck under the odds a little bit at $7.50. Ambidexter's 12 into 10. Secret Admirer, they're on, they're off, they're on, they're off type $10. Not much outside that. Probably Shootout, Ambidexter, the two best movers on Luxbet right now. There you go.
Boys,
They're the long
anything for
ones.
you out of all of those?
Oh, having seen Secret Admirer work this morning, I'm expecting her to be a lot sharper than she was in her previous couple of starts. She only had a light piece of work and really dashed home the last 200 metres. So, given that preparation, I can imagine she's going to have a lot more dash in her legs going to the 54 kilos. She could be a big player.
Am I right in saying they're just can't quite work out what they're doing with Secret Admirer? Like we've talked about this, haven't we? Cox Plate, Caulfield Cup.
I think they sort of heading one way, and I think she's turned the corner now. I think Graham Beggs realised that a mile Randwick is her positive, and she's 54 kilos, so she was very sharp this morning.
A couple of sharp performances on the weekend by the Chris Waller trained Collini and also Julie Ennis. That's a Strawberry Boy there in the blue and white. Maybe have gone to the well a bit once too often.
Well, I was happy to lay the hell out of Strawberry Boy, but I was on Julianus and, geez, I thought it was going to go past it 4 times, but not to be. Dower in the end, and Collini hangs on.
Yeah, big query on this horse, whether he'll back up in the Metropolitan Handicap this Saturday, but Chris Wallace is considering, he's actually looking at his options to see whether he can get the horse into a Melbourne Cup, what he has to do to get it qualified. It obviously can stay. It was 3 deep virtually for the
Cup or a Lexus. Or
well, whatever he's got to do. But, yeah, I wouldn't be backing him at this stage in the Metropolitan Handicap until the
Lamasery 420, obviously off the back of wins. So too Glen Cadham Gold, Stout-Hearted, the same one. Moraine.
Well, he's not going to go around Moraine. No. He's going around in the Craven Plate with Hugh Bowman on board. So look, aside from him, the horses at the top of the market, I think, are the 3 that are going to dominate there. Glen Cadham Gold was a big worker at Randwick this morning. All the Gay Waterhouse camp can't see it getting beat.
It's the mover. It's been the mover, Glen Cadham Gold. Not a lot of action around it, but smart money definitely.
Is there multis at this stage, or just straight each way betting, or whatever you call it?
Good question. I think you can do multis.
No. Is there much interest in the multis, or is it mainly just players just picking out?
Oh no, it's just trying to zero in on a couple of runners. But
maybe
Glen Cadham Gold. Definitely one of the ones I want to back.
Okay, one thing you want to do if you're looking for a racehorse is go to our mates at grandsyndicates.com.au. We've got a couple of horses available at the moment. All shares are just $1,000, as you can see. $6 a day, of course. Your own racehorses for fun and make it affordable. And there's no extra bills and easy out options with the Grand Syndicates scenario. Pull out whenever you want. We've got a Hidden Dragon filly. I'm in her. 2 shares left. Keep the Faith filly, that's off to the breakers. And the Dam, 100% runners to winners. And for our WA viewers, we've got a Barely a Moment colt, who obviously Moment of Change, same sire. And that's also pretty much off to the breakers as well. So these horses will be up and running in the next 4 or 5 months. This is Talkin Thru Your Kick. Plenty more to come on the show. We'll be back straight after this.